Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Reena Goodwin. I am the founder and CEO of FACTEUR PR and the host of the Grow Your Wealth podcast. Welcome back today. We are going to talk about something really important to growing your brand. If you're a business owner, a wellness expert, a med spa founder, an interior designer, whatever that might be, anyone that is building a brand that they believe in, stick with me because today we're going to talk about how to work with journalists to help build your brand. Specifically, we're talking about one of the most overlooked yet powerful parts of PR strategy, and that is how to find the right media contacts to pitch your brand story to and actually connect with them in a meaningful way. And by the end of this conversation, you'll walk away with some tips and tricks with discovering journalists who are already covering like topics like yours, which is so important to getting started, how to build a customized high quality media list, something that we talk a lot about here, and approach these journalists in a way that feels human and helpful and honestly way more likely to get that coverage that you and your brand so desire. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, I want to talk a little bit about setting the stage and explaining why working with the media is so important. Why does it matter for your business? According to a 2023 Propel Media Barometer survey, 78% of journalists say that they receive irrelevant pitches every single day. It's 2025 now at the recording of this, and I can tell you, nothing has changed. Last year, I met up with one of my friends at InStyle magazine. She was at the time the new beauty editor. She's still the beauty editor over there, Miss Cara Jillian Brown. And she had revealed to my colleague and I that she gets 800 pitches a day, 800 on average pitches a day. Most of these pitches, of course, are coming to her via email. And as she revealed, most are completely irrelevant or, not a good fit for her. And that makes, this other stat up here even more astonishing, right? Out of all of those, say 8% of pitches, only about 3% of those received result in any kind of tangible coverage. So that's not to say that only 3% of the stories that these journalists are receiving are worth telling. It's far from it, right? But the issue, honestly, is misalignment. Misalignment in terms of timing, misalignment in terms of pitching the wrong story to the wrong person, right? Like it's got to be the right fit for the right person at the right time. And I know that what I just said in and of itself can be intimidating for a lot of business owners, right? Because you don't have a lot of time to figure things out and take this chance, right? To be able to invest in, a 3% possibility that your brand gets covered in a media story. It can be a really difficult hurdle to get across, right? But that is why, and what I'm here to share with you today, why it is so important to take the time to make sure that you are targeting the right contacts in the right way at the right time. So we're going to take time discussing that today, get to know what these journalists really care about, what they really want to write about is so important. Media relations, as we call it. This is the activity of getting publicity for your brand, working with the media. The key word here is relations. And so this is about building bridges for your brand, not shouting into a void. And therefore, just like any kind of relationship building activity, my friends, it's going to take some trust. It's going to take honesty. And it's going to take a lot of giving before receiving, as we talk a lot about with our clients at FACTEUR PR, as well as with our students here at the DIY PR project. This is so, so critically important. So let's first and foremost talk about how to build these relationships. And the best way, quite honestly, to build these relationships is by doing it organically. So in this case, doing it yourself can still be a really, really good option for you as far as how to be able to find the right journalists for your brand. So if you're not hiring out and you want to find the right journalists for your brand, it is absolutely key, first and foremost, that you read the news in your niche. I know that this sounds, wow, geez, just so basic, but this is critically important to the success of your PR campaign. How on earth can you pitch or decide who to pitch or to partner with in your media relations outreach if you're not reading the news? You're not understanding the content that these journalists are producing. So you start by consuming the kind of content that you want to be a part of. So read the news in your industry, subscribe to magazines and newsletters that speak to your audience, listen to relevant podcasts, pay attention to bylines, producers, guest bookers. These are the people behind the story and start following them, right? Make sure that you're staying on top of it. This is not a one and done activity. At FACTEUR PR, our team subscribes to, I cannot even tell you, dozens upon dozens of Substacks, newsletters. And I'm talking newsletters from media outlets that we pitch our clients to and work with all the time, like Allure, InStyle, Glamour, Pure Wow, Pop Sugar, all of these newsletters, Axios, the Wall Street Journal, they're coming to our inboxes every single day. That doesn't mean we read every single one of them, but it's so important for us to have a really firm understanding of what is current in the media landscape. Because again, timing is everything. Okay. Next, you're going to want to follow these reporters on either X or Instagram, TikTok. Threads is also really, really relevant right now as well too. Take a look at what they're writing for their publications, but also what they're not writing for yet in their publications. We use this methodology all the time for our clients. One example, right? Working with beauty and wellness writers, and we have a product that targets melasma. Okay. This is going to be relevant across the board in the beauty industry, but imagine how much more relevant it's going to land for a beauty editor, for a beauty writer that actually suffers from a melasma. And a lot of these journalists, they're sharing their trials and tribulations with their own skincare, their own well-being, and so forth on social media. So use these clues as really great ideas to build that relationship. Hey, I saw that you struggle with melasma. I do too. Or, hey, I saw that you struggle with melasma. Have you ever considered a topical product that uses probiotics to beat your melasma? This is new to you. Let me send you some samples. This has resulted in coverage for our clients upon many occasions. And this is what we mean about building relationships. Cold blasting emails into somebody's inbox does not build a relationship, right? But really getting to know their content that they're writing and what they're sharing on social media can make all of the difference. Okay. And then check Substacks, check LinkedIn. Editors, freelancers, they're active there, of course, as well, too. I will say that I see more activity on places like Instagram, TikTok, and Threads these days as of the recording of this. But again, see where the writers that you are tracking are creating additional content for their subscribers and readers. It could be a multitude of places as well, too. Also, Substack, I mentioned, is huge these days. There's about a dozen or so Substacks that we subscribe to from different journalists. They share really insightful best practices for pitching. Now, take these with a grain of salt because every journalist is going to give you a different way that they prefer to be pitched. But the most important thing is that you stay on top of it. And again, that will help not only make your pitch timing really good, but relevant as well too. And if you find someone who best aligns with your brands, there are tools out there that I recommend that you can use to be able to find an email address, and make sure to underline that word, email address. We are not DMing journalists a story idea. That is typically across the board a no-no. Once in a while in a journalist's social media bio, I might see something like my DMs are open, for example, for story pitches. And if that is apparent in their social media bio off the bat, I would consider that an invitation then. But just keep in mind that, you along with 50 other brands or however many other brands see that as an invitation as well. I still haven't heard of any other best way of receiving a story pitch digitally as email. So finding those email addresses, you can use plugins like Apollo or Hunter.io to be able to find those email addresses and then send over a really solid pitch. For the purpose of this topic, we're not going to exactly go into all of the nitty-gritty details as far as what makes a great pitch, but stick with me because I will have a few turnkey tips and tricks for you later on. So stick with me. But right now we're still talking about how to find the right journalists to pitch your story. So we've talked about reading the news in your niche, following reporters on social media, checking Substacks or LinkedIn articles from editors and freelancers, and using tools like Apollo or Hunter.io to actually find their email addresses. Okay. This method takes time, yes, but it is incredibly valuable because we're not just collecting emails. Again, we are gaining insights into the interests, the preferences, even the tone, the style of each journalist that we're pitching. And I know it sounds like a little bit of front loading the work, a little heavy lifting, and you're absolutely right. We often talk about in our DIY PR program, 70% of PR is in the preparation. This is part of that, okay? I would much rather spend my time getting it right the first time instead of going back and redoing my media list. I forget who to credit for this quote that I share with my team all the time. I share with myself, my children even, is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And so what I specifically mean by that, take the time to find the right journalists, get the timing right, get the angle right. That might feel like it's taking a long time. It might feel slow, but it's going to make everything that much smoother and therefore that much faster when you start pitching. Okay. So organically searching for the right journalist, it's not only free, but it's insightful and it helps you become a better storyteller. But the only downside, as I mentioned, is that it is manual. It is time consuming. You'll need to track your research, build your list as you go. But if you are in this for the long game, and my friends, if you are building a business, I hope you are in it for the long game, right? Then it is going to be well worth the effort. Now let's talk about strategy number 2 for finding the best journalist to pitch your brand to. Okay. This can be utilizing a tool called media databases. So there are many out there. There's Muckrack, Cision, Propel, Prowly, Agility. They offer robust search tools that let you filter contacts by outlet, by location, topics, and more. And you can build media lists. You can even monitor coverage, and you can even track who's opened your pitch directly from these various media database channels. So if you're managing PR for multiple products, multiple campaigns, these can really help scale your efforts. So instead of starting from scratch every time, you can build and save these targeted lists in minutes based on very specific criteria. But that being said, these tools are perfect. So I include this in here with some super specific nuances. These tools, we use a lot of these tools at FACTEUR PR. They're expensive, I'm not going to lie, but we're able to offset the cost because we don't have one client. We aren't in-house. We have multiple clients. And so the cost is kind of spread out between all of them, but they are pricey. And I'm talking thousands of dollars a year, 5 figures. In the 5-figure range every single year. And while they are powerful, the contact information, I'm not going to lie, is not always up to date. So you'll still need to manually verify each and every email address. You'll still need to customize your pitches for who it truly resonates with. I'll also be honest with you, I don't use these platforms and don't suggest for my team using these platforms for the actual outreach. And I'll tell you why. You ready? There's an unsubscribe button at the bottom. Okay, I don't like that. That immediately screams, I did not personalize. I, kind of picked your contact out of a hat and I'm sending this email to you and 500 other people. That is not what I am talking about doing here when I say find the right media contacts for your brand. What I mean by that is not taking a spray and pray approach. That is a guaranteed way, again, of like just playing a percentages game. A large percentage of the people that you might be spraying and praying to are not the right contacts. We're talking about getting the right contacts. Spray and pray is amateur. We're not doing amateur here. We're talking about building relationships, because those relationships, investing in these relationships, will ultimately help build your brand. So yes, media databases, they are efficient, but they don't eliminate the need for thoughtful research and for human connection. Now, we've talked about organic search. We've talked about using things like media databases. A hybrid of these tools is what we do at Factor PR, organic plus media databases, right? Because of the volume of work that we do. And speaking of which, if you are somebody who's like, I want some more strategic support, you can always hire a pro team. So this media relations obviously takes time, it takes skill. If you're ready to scale your brand to the next level with strategic support and save yourself time, seriously level up that visibility. Another option is to partner with a PR agency like Factor PR, because here's the truth. Great PR isn't just about sending email after email. It's about crafting compelling narratives. It's about knowing when and how to pitch them when it's not even in the PR plan, right? When an idea comes to mind or a particular opportunity crosses your desk, it's about seizing those opportunities and ultimately understanding the rhythms of the media cycle. So as I mentioned at Factor, we don't just pull lists from a database and call it a day. We might take those lists as a jumping off point, but then we use that list to save us obviously some time, but build relationships to tailor every pitch to make it meaningful. We match your expertise to the right media contact and to the right media moment as well too. And we do it with creativity, we do it with professionalism, and over 30 years of combined industry experience as well. So for our clients, that means getting featured in top publications and podcasts, building long-term credibility, and having a team behind the scenes that knows how to make media coverage work for your business. So is it an investment? Yes, it is. It's a done for you strategy, okay? But if you're looking for national coverage in your beauty, home, or wellness brand, that is who we serve at Factor PR. Okay. So could also be, at the right time, another great way of building your brand with the media. And the great thing about working with an agency like ours, but really hopefully any other PR agency, is that they share these relationships with you too, right? Because you are the spokesperson. If you're listening to this right now and you're a founder, or maybe the media spokesperson for your brand or business, right? You are going to also be interfacing with the media. So what the PR agency can do is create and leverage their own relationships and let you borrow them essentially, right, for your business. And you can also create these relationships on someone's podcast, in an interview, and so forth too. So really, really cool way of leveraging a PR agency to work smarter and not harder. Hey there, I want to invite you to join our Grow Your Wealth community over on Slack. It's a safe space to network and connect with podcast guests, entrepreneurs, and wellness-minded pros just like you. Head to growyourwealthpodcast.com/community to join us. That's growyourwealthpodcast.com/community. I look forward to seeing you over there. Okay, now let's talk about connecting with journalists. How can we do so authentically? Because again, this is so important. If you think about, oh my gosh, I've got a 3% chance of getting coverage, right? Which means there's a chance of my email getting open, but then I've got to connect with this journalist. What do you do next? This is where some people fall flat, and why I really, really wanted to take the time to record this session today, because media relations, again, like any other relationship, it should not feel transactional. Okay. journalists are people. They're not pitch machines. It might seem like it, they might feel like it, they're people too. And so we have to approach them with care, with clarity, and with respect. So a question I get asked all the time, how do I build real connection with journalists? And these are just a few ideas, but first, engage with their content, comment on their posts, share their articles with a thoughtful note, build that familiarity with yourself way before you ever start pitching. Okay. And then when you're ready to reach out, reference something that they've recently written about. Okay. Show them that you're not mass emailing, that you chose to connect with them for a reason. This is huge. Even on the podcast, I'm starting to get pitches from brands, which is amazing. And maybe it's because I have a lot of history with pitching. I can tell you with extreme certainty which ones are spray and pray. And if I can tell, I bet my life that a journalist can tell as well too. Okay. So you want to, again, authentically connect with these journalists. One great way of doing that, engaging with their content. The second great way is reference something that they've recently written about or, produced or something along those lines too. Okay. The third thing is personalize their pitch. I know this sounds very, very obvious. Use their name, spell their name right. I once had a conversation with one of my dear friends, journalist Jillian Kramer, and one of the things that she had shared with me, and this was years ago, but it's always stuck with me. She's like, Reena, you would be so surprised to know, like, just write an email in a way that is polished and well written. That is all I ask. That is all I ask. Like that, she was like, that will get you so much farther than like half the pitches out there. Don't call me sir. Don't call me ma'am. Don't be vague. Just say, hi, Jillian. Like that in and of itself, it's like, okay, speaking with a human being. Use the journalist's name. Personalize that pitch. Craft a subject line that sparks curiosity. Don't make it cryptic, right? Don't make it clickbaity. Tell the journalist what they're going to see inside that pitch and make it about their audience, not just about your brand. Number 4, keep your email short and sweet. I said I was not going to get into the nitty-gritty of what makes a good pitch, but if you can take away one important thing, in addition to personalizing your pitch, make it short and sweet. So no huge blocks of text, no attachments, no jargon. Keep it short, sweet, polite, human, to the point. I always suggest, if you can, ending your email with a very simple yes or no question. Is this a fit for your coverage? Are you interested in learning more? Yes or no? It's a lot easier to answer an email with a yes or a no versus, my God, you want my thoughts? I have so many thoughts. Oh my God. It's just asking a lot. It's a much lighter lift to ask a yes or no question. And oftentimes that's all you need to know. Are you interested or not? Because if you're not interested, I won't keep bothering you, right? I won't keep emailing you. If you are interested, great. Then that opens the door for action. And number 5, finally, most importantly, be useful. So share a story, an angle, a tip that makes their job easier. In the DIY PR project, we talk about the importance of media kits. And what I teach in this module about the importance of media kits is that the media kit, which is basically like either a document or a folder that is a very high level overview of your brand, for example. So it includes things like your bio, press releases, photography, all of that good stuff, right? And that is important. The most important part about a media kit isn't just what's in the media kit. It is the signal that it sends to the journalist. And what I specifically mean by that is it signals that you have your SHIT together. Because there's nothing worse and no faster way to burn a bridge with a journalist than to say that you're going to do something or that you're going to have something and you're either late or you aren't able to deliver on it. So already by sending something like a media kit, you're making the job of that journalist easier because you've compiled all that information. They don't have to go hunting for it. And it sends a signal that like, I'm on top of it. I know what you want. I am here to serve. I am here to help you. Okay. So Be useful in your pitches, ask for something specific, keep them short and sweet, personalize those pitches, reference something that they've recently written or shared on social media, and engage with that content on social media as well too, okay? According to Muckrak's 2024 State of Journalism reports, 65% of journalists have said that they are more likely to respond to a personalized pitch. So skip the template, be real, be relevant. Now, speaking of personalized pitches, you might be wondering about the relevancy of press releases. Is this still a good way to engage with journalists? So I want to clear up this myth before we wrap up for today, and that is that blasting a press release to hundreds of contacts is the way to get coverage. No, it's not. In fact, if you're not careful, it can hurt your credibility because mass press releases with generic language, no real personalization, can get ignored, okay? Those attachments, they get flagged as spam, subject lines that look like clickbait, as we talked about, or corporate speak, oftentimes gets deleted. So I'm not saying that press releases are irrelevant, but what I am saying is that they are not the best way to get coverage. They are an accompaniment to a pitch, okay? So you still have to draft some sort of human pitch angle to accompany your press release, okay? So press releases are there to inform. They're not there to get coverage. That's one really good way to think about it, okay? Because again, press coverage is earned. It's earned by offering timely, targeted, and thoughtful story ideas. Stories that fit into what the journalist is already talking about. Stories that are clear, they're concise, and they're genuinely interesting. So ditch the spray and pray approach, my friends, and focus on strategy, focus on relationships, and focus on the value that you are bringing, not just to the writer, to the editor, to the freelancer, but to their community and to their readers as well, too. All right, you still with me? Now let's talk about the 3 best ways, recapping, to build a media list, okay? Organic search, AKA DIYing it. This is, I think, important to do regardless. It's free, it's effective. However, it is time intensive. But whether or not you are a solopreneur or you are CEO at a Fortune 100 company, if media relations is important to your business, I highly suggest reading the media. It's important regardless, even if it's not on your plate to be responsible with. You want to know what your competitors are doing. You want to know what the media is saying about your industry. Read the news. Number 2, utilizing things like media databases. This is great for scale, but it requires a financial investment, and you still need to take a thoughtful approach, okay? And the third thing is partnering with a PR agency, which will offer you high-level support, strategic storytelling, and done-for-you results that convert visibility into real growth. The caveat here is that you need to align with a PR agency that already has relationships with those writers that you now know about because of your organic search as part of what they offer at their agency, okay? But no matter the route that you take, bottom line is this. PR is about people, and people respond to relevance, respect, and real relationships. All right. So what now? Okay. If you're ready to stop sending cold emails into the void and start getting actual media wins, take one step this week. Start building your list. Personalize your next pitch. Hire the right support guide to help you through it. And if you want help, let us know. We'd love to chat over at FACTEUR PR. You can reach out at facteurpr.com, or if you're more interested in taking a DIY approach, I highly suggest checking out our DIY PR project. It's like a done with you service instead of a done for you service like at the agency. So a nice middle ground to help you get into the nitty-gritty of media relations and start making moves for your business. You've got a story worth sharing, so let's make sure the right people hear it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode deposited some useful advice and insights to help you grow your wealth. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future conversations. You can find more resources, episode details, and updates at growyourwealthpodcast.com. And let's keep the conversation going on Instagram. Follow me at Grow Your Wealth Podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or takeaway from today's show. Until next time, remember, burnout is optional. Take care, and I'll see you next week.